Good evening, folks, ladies and gentlemen. You are tuning in with Rob Patry Live. I am your host this evening. I am not Rob Patry. I am Mandy Lynn. I am filling in for him this evening. And we have a wonderful show for you tonight. We have Hampton-based trio, Bonnet House, here to talk about their album and their new release that was out March the 4th, and it was released at the Sanctuary Theatre. And I am here with Bill Preeper and Sandy
McKay.
Okay. How are you tonight?
Couldn't be better, thank you.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Nice to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, thank you. So let's talk a little bit about your new album, shall we?
Sure thing.
Okay, great. So Bonnet House, whose idea was it?
Not mine.
But it was your house.
Hey,
Yeah.
we've got a third person in the band who's going to be showing up later. We can blame everything on him
We
right
could put
now.
it on
It
him.
was Clinton's idea,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And Clinton's going to be joining us in a little while. But yeah, so Bonnet House.
We started playing some shows together. Actually, we know the exact show. We the three of us, Clinton and Bill and I, did a show at Rosslyn Netherwood School, and we hadn't played together then, but we got together after the show and talked a little bit, and we invited Clinton to join us on a Bob Dylan tribute gig that we often do, and it really gelled. So we decided right then, let's continue doing this. Clinton's a really gifted percussionist, and he's able to play. We were originally playing quiet folk music, and he was able to get into that and really add a lot, which is just remarkable for a percussionist. He's a gifted percussionist. So we decided then that we'd continue doing that, and at the beginning we decided we would make a little 4 or 5 song EP, and it grew into this.
And that was in 2013 that you guys did the, right, okay. And so Bonnet House, the song, it came from...
The name of the
Yes,
group?
yes.
I live in an old house in Hampton that was built in the 1840s, and when my wife and I bought the place 20 years ago, we didn't know anything about it having actually had a name, but turns out we found a piece of mail in a wall, and the mail was addressed to Bonnet House, Hampton. And there was also some painting on a beam in the basement that said Bonnet House 1950 or something. I'm not sure of the year, 1950, 52. And I just put it together and figured that must have been what somebody called the house at one time. It hadn't been ever called that in my memory, but so we were desperate for a name for the band. Nothing else was passing the committee, so at one point someone suggested that. And at first it seemed really strange to call a band Bonnet House, but after a while we didn't care, I guess.
Yeah. It's very fitting because it's where we rehearse. It's our space.
Yeah, yeah. So it really made sense to call it Bonnet House because that's where everything developed.
So is all of the music recording, all of the everything done in Bonnet House?
For that album, with the
For
exception...
this particular album right here?
Yeah,
Yep.
with the exception of the drums on one song, everything was recorded there.
Okay, so talk to me a little bit about the first let's talk about the writing. Who does the writing?
We all do,
Yeah.
in various combinations. We all have written songs on our own, especially Sandy and Clinton, and we get together and we get together and work on songs as a group. Some songs are 3-way co-writes, others any combination you can imagine.
Yeah.
Do you
So some of the songs on this album, Clinton brought one in. I brought one in from a previous writing workshop, and most of them we just made up as we were starting to get together.
Yeah. It was kind of a joke at one point. I almost was afraid to pick up an instrument and start playing it because one of these guys would run with it and we'd have a song within, well, by the end of an evening we'd certainly have a song, maybe 2, just based on little ideas that popped into our heads. And you know, they wouldn't be complete songs at the end of an evening, but over time they would develop into things based on those initial ideas.
So will you guys just dedicate a certain amount of time where you'll say, okay, we're going to go to the house and we're going to, or you'll go in with songs in mind or stuff and say, you know, I have this?
No, it was more like we'd sit down and pick up an instrument, and that would trigger somebody's thought on a song that they had been working on. We weren't structured about it. We didn't book time to write. That never happened.
And so is there a recording, there's a recording studio as well there?
It's a living room.
It's a, it's a
Yeah,
fancy pants one?
I call it the music room. The rest of my family calls it the front room. And it's where most of the instruments and recording equipment ended up being in the house, because it was acoustically isolated from the rest of the family, and my family's in the rest of the house living and watching TV, cooking
And they're
meals.
very patient with us.
That was going to be one of my
Yeah,
questions.
they're very patient with us.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
I have a funny story. The other day, one of Bill's family members, we were practicing, and she came down and said, "Dad, can you tell me where your headphones are?" And I just thought, the noise-canceling headphones.
Yeah. Fortunately, being an old house, the walls are thick, so it's not as bad as it might be in a newer house with thin walls.
Sure, okay. And so you have a couple dates coming up. Did you want to talk about those?
The next one, I think the next one is Elmhurst Outdoors on April 6th. That's it's a lodge where they have ski and snowshoe trails, and in the summer they have other activities.
And they're doing maple syrup this time of year.
Yeah, and that's what we're involved in. It's a maple and music event that they're
works
putting
great.
on.
And also you have another event coming up the end of April as well for O'Leary's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing.
That's a ticketed event, I think.
No,
No,
not
I think
O'Leary's.
that's an open
Okay.
event. Yeah,
Okay.
on Saturday night, April 29th, we're covering 2 sets with the 3 of us, and we're being joined by 3 other musicians for that show. So we'll put together the big band for that show.
Oh, that'll be wonderful.
It's a big sound.
That'll be great. And also, so I want to ask you a little bit about. So you live a double life. You do other music as well. Like by that I mean.
No, not me. No, I'm only in one band, and I have a simple life. I have a double life in that I have a music aspect, and then there's the part where I do laundry and
Yep. Okay, that's the big secret.
wash dishes. I can hear my wife Kathy laughing now, and walking the dog and painting the house, that sort of thing. But these guys, Sandy and Clinton, are both busy with other groups. Sandy and Clinton both play with Jessica Ray's band.
Right.
And Clinton, I can't even keep track of how many bands he's in.
No, he'll be on later. He can list them all for you.
Yeah.
I can
He'll
only,
keep
I can
track
only
for us.
keep
Yeah.
track of 4 of them, and I think there's more.
Oh my
I gave
gosh.
up.
You get, okay, so a little bit about you. So this album here,
Yeah.
talk about it.
Well, that's an album that I did about 5 years ago. I was about to turn 50, and I'd been dreaming my whole life about putting out a record. And before I turned 50, I got a bunch of friends together and decided, okay, it's time to record an album, and that's what came out of it. I was in a studio one day with our friend Brent Mason, working with him on his new record, and met the producer, Tim Davidson, and I just liked the vibe in the studio so much, I decided that's the place. So Bill came and played on that, and a bunch of other friends, and my daughter and my grandson came and sang on a little bit. And
your dog?
And my dog.
And how long did it take to record this?
That was about 10 months or so.
Was that done in Bonnet House as well?
No, that was done at Ripple Effect Studios in St. John.
Okay, and so for instruments, what instruments do you guys play? You could go first.
On this record, I play mostly double bass. We didn't bring it today because we couldn't fit it all in the car. I play double bass, guitar, and mandolin.
Wonderful. And what do you play?
Acoustic and electric guitar mainly. I think I played 1 or 2 notes on an old button accordion.
Oh, wow.
And maybe some mandolin that we didn't use. So that, I guess that doesn't count. But mainly
That can count.
acoustic and electric guitar mainly, and sing.
And so I'll start with you, Sandy. When did you start, when did you know music was something inside you? When did you start playing or performing?
Wow, I've got, my folks have pictures of me as a little kid with a guitar strapped around my neck, 3 or 4 years old. And, excuse me, my sister had a guitar when I was about 10, and she always used to get really mad at me because I'd steal her guitar and go play. And yeah, I was playing from a really young age.
And
Same here. I remember.
same guitar?
No, 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 he's much younger than me. I grew up with both sides of my family was somewhat musical, and my mother's brothers in particular had guitars when I was growing up. So I always wanted to get my hands on them, and I didn't actually get to have a guitar to learn to play on until I was about 13, but it was always around. So I can't remember a time when I wasn't interested in it or wanting to play.
So you guys both of you've talked about a little bit about Dylan. Tell me more about some of your favorite musical inspirations. Who would they be?
Wow, we were talking about this the other day. It goes the gamut. I grew up listening to old-timey music and bluegrass that my dad loved, and to rebel, I started listening to punk rock music in the 70s. So my tastes go from electronica, punk rock, and folk music, and there's not too much I don't like.
Yeah, I think I'm like that too. I'm about 9 or 10 years older than Sandy, so the music that I listened to was different in that sense, but not different in style necessarily, and we both have a fair amount of music in common, although a lot we don't, a lot of stuff I don't recognize that you bring up. But the traditional and old-timey stuff definitely we have in common. And that was really, I mean, I always had an interest in playing music and learning to play the guitar, but what really sparked it for me was when I heard John Hartford album in the early 70s. Aeroplane, do you know the album? It's a wonderful album. And at the same time, it was the same evening, I heard the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band Will the Circle Be Unbroken album. And that was Mother Maybelle Carter and all these wonderful old-time musicians and bluegrass, and mixed with young guys like the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band members and Norman Blake, who at the time was fairly young. And that just really opened my eyes. It was beautifully recorded, acoustic instruments, and it just grabbed me. And ever since then, I've really loved that.
And Bonnet House was sold out at Sanctuary Theatre. Did you anticipate that?
No,
it
we
was
didn't.
such a big deal.
No, we
Talk
didn't.
about that.
Well,
Go ahead.
I have to apologize to anyone who didn't get to go and wanted to, because they arrived at the door and it was sold out, because I was telling everyone, don't worry about it. There will never be, it will never sell out. Of course, I lived to eat those words, and I was scrambling to find tickets for people at the last minute. When
we were pretty surprised. We didn't think that we'd sell out. A couple of weeks before, we'd sold 20 tickets or so, and thought, okay, well, we're not going to lose money. So selling out and having people calling us up to the last minute and showing up at the door was very surprising.
And will you guys be doing a tour?
Yeah, we're doing a tour of Greater St. John region, from St. Stephen maybe as far as Petitcodiac. And you know, we talk about touring around the Maritimes. We're homebodies. So
we have no plans at this point.
we're not going on a world tour, for sure.
And so how do you balance music? And this is something I always wonder, because I'm a busy person as well. How do you balance music in your home life and work and any other projects that you may have? How do you find a balance for that?
Well, you do the music first, because you like to do the music. It's not, even for the little bit that I play in music, I do find it hard to balance it. And I'm just waiting for the big bucks to roll in so I can afford to pay someone to paint the house, wash the dishes.
Yeah, and you set aside a day or a night for rehearsals and practicing. And then when it gets closer to performance time, my family's very understanding, my wife's very understanding. We've got a show coming Saturday, so I'm going to have to practice Tuesday and Wednesday. And the rest of the time, we also commit to our families. So Thursday night's my night with the grandkids.
Yeah, and we have an understanding among the three of us that families come first. So it's not like it's not that difficult to call. You know, if something comes up,
So you have an understanding for each other if somebody couldn't make it for, you know, a scheduled time. Do you ever schedule time though, or is it just
yeah,
fine
we
to
have
let's
to
hang
do that.
out?
Otherwise, it just
absolutely.
wouldn't happen.
So you have to
that's-
make time for it. You always
Yeah.
have to make time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so a little bit more about your musical instrument and your musical inspiration. So is there anybody now that you wish that you could meet or perform with, or is there anybody that,
Wow.
you know?
Well, I've always been a big fan of Bruce Cockburn ever since I was a kid. When I started listening to Bruce Cockburn, hearing what one person could do with one instrument, realizing that was possible, and then starting to learn about how he changed the tunings on his instruments. When I was a kid, Bruce Cockburn started getting into a little bit harder music, and I thought, okay, well, he's made the leap from folky acoustic to electric, something harder and a little more angry. And I learned a lot from that. It was very inspiring when I was, I think, about 21 years old. And I remember being at a concert when Bruce Cockburn first sang the line, "Some son of a bitch would die." And this is our sweet, lovey-dovey Bruce Cockburn, who's got electric guitar on and is angry enough to say that. A gasp went through the audience, and that was inspiring.
Bruce Cockburn was a big inspiration for me too. I spent at least a year in my bedroom trying to play his guitar style in
Foxglove?
standard tuning on the guitar. No idea that he was doing it in an alternate tuning. That was a year wasted. I'll never get that back. But yeah, wonderful musician and writer. Love
And
that
so
stuff.
when you guys are playing live for people, mistakes happen. How do you handle a mistake?
I just keep
We
going.
roll through it. Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Don't
Yeah.
stop.
What mistake?
Don't stop.
That's right. And it happens all the time. And very rarely do we have a train wreck where things grind to a halt. And we're all professional enough that you know, a little mistake.
We'll demonstrate a few mistakes for you
yeah.
later on.
Just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
so
why don't
we
we do
could
that?
see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so we could know. So you talked about guitar for the first. So you talked about picking up the guitar when you were 10, 12 years old. Was that your very first instrument that you became comfortable with?
My first instrument was a baritone ukulele.
Okay.
And say bagpipes.
No, bagpipes was later.
Excuse me.
I was going to go for that too, but I didn't want to
Bagpipes was
stereotype.
later. So I learned on the baritone ukulele, switched to guitar. Around that time, my folks brought a guy into our house. My parents had music parties all the time, and they brought a guy playing clawhammer banjo when I was really young, and I just fell in love with that sound. And so I bought a banjo and started learning banjo, and then my mother said, Sandy Mackay, that's a good Scots name. You're going to learn to play the bagpipes. And
Plague the bagpipes.
Plague
That was
the
a good
bagpipes.
slip.
Plague the bagpipes. So I started playing bagpipes when I was about 13.
Wow.
like that.
Did
I'm
that
gonna
take a
keep
long
that.
time to learn?
I was young. I went twice a week to the Colonel John McCrae Legion in Guelph, Ontario. So no, it didn't take too long. I think it was about a year on the chanter, and then onto the big instrument.
And what about you?
Sorry, what was the question?
What did you start with?
What did you start with? What, like the first instrument you became comfortable
guitar.
with? Guitar.
My first instrument that I owned and learned to play any chords on was a bell tone electric guitar with a neck that was about that big around and flat where the fretboard was, and it was almost impossible to play because of the tension on the strings, but it was an electric guitar. And that was in the late 60s, and I was determined that I was going to play like the Beatles and Eric Clapton
And now you do.
And,
not so much, no. Still
and
working
how
on it.
old were you then?
13, I think, when I got my first guitar.
And so did you just learn it by playing it yourself, or was anyone else in your family musically
I
talented?
got a few lessons from my Uncle Charlie, and
I have an Uncle Charlie, wonder.
Yeah.
No?
I think it's the same guy.
Probably. I'm sure it is.
And my Uncle Rod, and I got a book. It was EZ, as a Canadian. I thought, EZ, learn to play guitar. I didn't realize that they were trying to, that it was an American thing. And I learned the basic chords from that. And I never took formal guitar lessons.
And when you learned to play it, did you right away like know a full song?
Oh no, I must have played for 10 years before I realized that it's way better if you learn a whole song and sing along with it.
Smart.
It's
and you didn't have YouTube, I guess, so
no,
now it's a cheap thing.
So much easier
Yes,
now to
it's so
But we
find
still
things.
had records, and what I did is I put on a record, and I just learned to play along with the record.
Did you
Right.
slow the record 33 down to 60?
Yeah, every so often, yeah.
That was almost.
When I was learning to play the bass, I learned to play the bass with the Police's first album, and some of that stuff's really hard and really fast, so I'd slow it down.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much, guys. We're going to take a short break. Anyone tuning in now, you're tuning in Rob Patry Live, and I'm your guest host this evening, Mandy Lynn Donovan, and I'm here with Bonnet House. And after the break, we're going to come back, and they are going to play When the Wind Blows, Words, and Manitoba right after the break. Welcome back to Rob Patry Live. I'm your host for this evening, Mandy Lynn, and if you're just starting to tune in right now, I'm here with Bonnet House, and they're about to sing 3 songs from the new album that was released on March the 4th. You're going to hear When the Wind Blows, Words, and Manitoba. So I'm excited, yay!
Crow, black crow, take a trip to the north. Follow the wind as it whistles forth. She's a red and black hair, flaming blue eye. This secret I wrote on the skin of her thigh. Say I'll come find her in the place that she lies when the wind blows north. Wren, gentle wren, take a trip to the east. Ride on the back of a sea-going beast. Go to her closely, touch her right here. Whisper this promise, kiss her small ear. Tell her I'll be waiting, I will be there when the wind blows east. Loon, deep loon, take a trip to the west. The sweet naive waif who loved me the best. Loon, you will find her in or near water, swimming there naked, holding my daughter. Once she flowed free, but love trapped and taught her when the wind blows west. Ooh. Lark, no lark, do not go to the south. I think of her there and I curse my fool mouth. I picture her watching, cold on the shore. But south, never south, I can go there no more. But oh, for her mouth, and the once twice before when the wind blows
south.
All right, that was Bonnet House, and they were playing When the Wind Blows. And up next now is Words.
1, 2, 3. Words that are whispered in your ear, you waited so long to hear. Those words are only words. Words that'll turn your world around, lift you up when you're feeling down. Those words are only words. The sound is deafening at first. The sound is deafening at first. The sound is only words. Words that are whispered in your ear, you waited so long to hear. Those words are only words. Words that'll tear your world apart, true confessions of the heart. Those words are only words. The sound is deafening at first. The sound is deafening at first. The sound is only words. The sound is only words. The sound is only words. That sound is only words. This is Manitoba. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3. When I get to Manitoba, please don't ask me where I've been, for the roads that I've been traveling, I may never walk again. When I get to Manitoba, please don't ask me if I'll stay, for the roads that I've been traveling, I may walk again one day. Know these beds where I've been sleeping, they ain't my home, they ain't my home. And these thoughts that I've been keeping are mine alone, are mine alone. When you get to Manitoba, you can tell them all that I'm fine, and I'll be back to see my father when it's time, when it's time. Know these beds where I've been sleeping, they ain't my home, they ain't my home. And these thoughts that I've been keeping are mine alone, are mine alone, are mine alone, mine alone.
You are tuning in with Rob Patry Live, and I'm your guest host, Mandy Lynn. That was Bonnet House, Hampton Trio, Bill Preeper, Sandy McKay, Clinton Charlton, and we're going to take a brief break. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come right back, we are going to hear more from Clinton and Bill. Welcome back, everyone. Rob Patry Live. I'm your guest host for the evening. I'm your guest host for the evening, Mandy Lynn, and I'm here with Bonnet House. And if you're just tuning in now, that you just missed out on some wonderful music that they played. And it's okay, though, because you can get the album right now. I understand it's for sale. And where could we purchase it at?
Backstreet Records in St. John has it, and in Fredericton, I believe.
Yep.
And well, we usually have some with us whenever we play somewhere.
And you can get it online as well?
Yeah, on Bandcamp. You can go to bonnethouse.com and it'll link you right to Bandcamp. We made it easy for you, and the album's up there. So
just one click away.
One click away, yeah.
Perfect. And also, I think that it would be a good time for me to introduce you. You are Clinton Charlton.
I am.
Okay, and I was getting into that. So tell me a little bit about you.
About me?
Yes.
Well, I wish there was more.
We already asked everything.
I wish there was more to tell, really, but well, I'm a father of two. I'm a husband. Those are the first things that define me, and then after that, I'm a songwriter and a musician, and I'm very lucky to get to play with a lot of wonderful people. And Bill and Sandy are very high on that list of people that I feel fortunate to get to play with.
Not at the top.
but up there, like, but they'll get there someday.
Yeah.
Working hard toward that to become a hard number 1 or number 2 at least. And so you're in other bands as well, I understand.
I am, yeah. I play drums in a band called Penny Blacks, who've been around for a while in St. John, and we have a new album. It'll be our sophomore full length. That'll be out on May 13th, and I'm very fortunate in the past year to get to join a band with CHCO-TV, and I'm sure you know her music, so that's wonderful. She's been a friend for a long, long time, and I'm really happy to get to be part of her music. And I play in a punk band. It's my first punk band, which is really exciting, called The Argument. And that's essentially Penny Blacks with a different frontman, Chris Small. We back him up, and it's great because all of my friends come from a punk background. I don't. So for me, this is like being 15 all over again and starting. And then I do solo stuff on my own as well, and I play with some other friends and some other ventures. I always got my hands in something. So.
And Jessica Ray, so did she have a hand in the album cover?
Yeah, Jessica did that album cover. Yeah, that's her work.
Okay, wow, that's wonderful. And is this the actual house?
That's Bill's house.
Oh,
yeah.
Guys, this is Bill's house.
Yeah.
That's
The
wonderful.
top part of it. Yeah.
The top.
part.
We don't get to see the bottom.
That's right.
No, I didn't want anyone to see that.
Yeah, I can't see the address on here.
I hadn't mowed the lawn that day, so.
Is that what it was? I can't see the
decided to
address.
shift it.
It's hard to see. Okay, so you're in so you do a lot of music. You do a lot.
Yeah.
When is your downtime?
Well, there isn't, I suppose.
Is this your
but,
downtime now? Is this like your break?
This could be my downtime.
In the car
It's
between
not-
St. John and here.
It's not as crazy as it sounds. You know, I've had people, you know, ridicule me like, oh, well, you must be a horrible dad, or you must be a really absent husband. But you know, it's not as busy as it seems. It's always been this way. I mean, when I met my wife, it was you know, I was in a lot of bands, and so it's just been the norm. I just don't. I like to be productive. I like to be part of things, and you know, as I get older, I'll be 44 at the end of this month, and I realize that it won't always be that way. You know, people won't always be asking me to play, and so I just I like it. It's just part of who I am.
Being 20 years older than you, I can say you've probably got a good 20 anyway.
Good. I'm happy.
So it's about balance, I think, is what you're trying to say.
Absolutely.
It's about
Yep.
sometimes the kids, sometimes you find a way to work with everything.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, if I were to give up music today, then I wouldn't be as good of a father, because I wouldn't feel there'd be that part of me that was, you know, unfulfilled, right? So
Absolutely.
it's all about that, right?
And if anybody wants to call in right now, you can. I think we have somebody that called in right now. Hello.
Yes, hello, Mandy Lynn.
Oh, that voice sounds familiar. Could that be the man on the sign?
Yeah, this is Rob Patry. What the heck's going on over there? Why am I not on the show?
Well, I took over.
You took over.
I
take
did.
a couple of sick days off, and you know what? The next thing I know is I'm gone.
It's out of control, Rob.
Bill, how are you? Clinton,
fine. How are you
Bill,
feeling, Rob?
Nice to chat with you from my deathbed.
Oh, it can't be that
Oh,
bad.
excuse me. Yeah, could I have another pina colada, please? yeah. So, anyway, is she treating you well?
Oh, yeah.
Very good, Rob. Very good.
Good. First of all, I got to say, those 3 songs were fantastic. They absolutely lifted what's left of my failing spirits.
Oh, geez. Well, thank you. We hope you're feeling okay.
Well, I should be up by late October. I should be up and rolling.
Oh,
Hopefully
boy.
before that.
Well, we'll be back then. How's that?
That'll give us time to write some new material.
Well, that's perfect. So then we'll have a whole new set of questions to ask you. But I just wanted to thank you guys so much for being on. I appreciate that, having me not there is not exactly the same. But I'll tell you, the good news is Mandy Lynn is a hell of a lot better looking than I am.
If you're waiting for
Well,
us
I'm not
to
going to argue.
No, well, I was. But all I heard was a lot of silence. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Mandy Lynn, you're doing a great job. Keep up the good work and enjoy yourself, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, though, while you're on the line?
Why are you guys
Like, how do I
drinking so
look?
much
How about
water?
that?
We didn't hear it, Rob. What was your question?
Why are you guys drinking so much water?
This
It was
is
a long
vodka.
drive, Rob.
Okay, fair enough. That's it. That's my question for tonight.
It's really good water.
It is good water.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Is Randy taking care of you?
Yes.
Okay.
We're just fine.
All right. Well, I will, Mandy Lynn, I'll leave you to the rest of the show and enjoy. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay.
Nice
Cheers,
to hear
guys.
from you. Enjoy your pina colada.
Oh, I will. Take care. Bye now.
You
Bye
too.
now.
Take care.
Well, we've hit the highlight now, haven't we?
We sure have. That was the That definitely was the highlight. Okay, so can you talk a little bit about some of the start maybe first with your first musical instrument that you played?
I was a snare drum. I was to be in the little drummer boy in grade 5. I believe it was Miss McGuire's class, and it got canceled. But my parents got me a snare drum for Christmas that year, so that was my very first instrument. And then I bought a guitar when I was 14. It was a 6-string Anjo. Yep.
Banjo?
Yep.
You'll have to explain
Oh
that.
boy, there's no explaining it. Yeah, and then that kind of was the bug. And I didn't get my first drum set till I was 18. I bought that with my first paycheck from my first real job. And and then it's just all been downhill from there. So.
And so does it take you, are you quick at catching on playing new instruments? Because you play a lot of instruments.
I really just play guitar and drums. I'll tinker around with other things, but it's Bill and Sandy that are really, they have a grasp on a lot of instruments. But it's kind of mostly been those two. I've played around with other things. I like to own a lot of instruments, so I own a lot of instruments.
He hoards them.
But
We were in his basement today, and it's
foolish.
hoard is a good word, actually, because we were wandering through aisles of drums, stacks of. I thought I knew how many drums you had roughly, but
No, it's foolish.
I
Yeah.
wasn't prepared for what we saw down there. It was
I like to restore
interesting.
old drum sets.
So that's a good passion too, though. That's
Absolutely, yeah.
And so you play guitar and drums right now?
Yeah, I mean, I what I do in most of the acts that I play in is drums. Yeah,
And so do you do a lot of writing as well?
I do. Yeah.
Where
yeah.
do you draw your inspiration? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it varies. I had a big dry spell actually, and Bonnet House was what kind of saved me from that. But my family, a lot. I met Bill and Sandy on the week that my father had passed, actually, and
Sorry to hear.
yeah. Well, thanks. Yeah, but that brought on a real long dry spell, and I had to take kind of a different angle to music because I kind of realized that a lot of what I did or a lot of what I wrote was, I guess Freud would say to make Dad proud or something. So it was these two that really helped. Help me get back on my feet in that regard. But I write a lot. I don't write as much as I used to. There was a period where I was really in a good routine of, every night was, it wasn't popcorn and movies. It was sit with the guitar and tinker, and I'd love to get back to that. I don't know if I ever will, but I'd certainly like to. It was a really productive period.
And so how long does it take you to write a song?
Depends on the song.
Oh, anywhere from 15 minutes to 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. This album, the Bonnet House record, was written fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have practices where we wanted to, explore an idea that we had previously, and that wouldn't happen. We would end up writing a new. I think we wrote 5 songs in 2 rehearsals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was 5 the first 2
Yeah,
times.
we had to make a conscious effort to stop, and I think that was because it was, exciting for the 3 of us to get together and have it be something different than we each do. So it was like exploring something new and getting to be part of that. So it was a really exciting time, and it still happens. We still write a lot of songs.
I think the problem when we started coming up with those 5 songs, for example, when we first got together, that was exciting to have all that stuff bubbling.
Yeah.
But they were pretty ragged.
For sure.
And we started getting this big pile of ragged songs that we weren't ready to play. We didn't really know. We just knew the bones were there. and none of them were polished enough that we could play them. So then we realized we had to kind of cut ourselves off from the raw creative phase that we were in, and get some of these things polished up a little bit so we could actually.
We had to book a show so that we go, okay, we better get ready for this, you know.
Do you write the music first or the lyrics first?
It varies.
Yeah, it varies.
Like with Manitoba, that was what you had the lyrics.
No.
Oh no.
No, that was just that one that's the purest song we got. I think. I mean, that's
beautiful.
just nobody could.
Well, did that start with me playing
guitar lick,
that
yeah.
guitar lick? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how that happened.
So you'll start playing it, and then
Yeah.
someone will sing along, or it'll sound like something.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Essentially, yeah. Kind of a fun one is Spiderwebs, because Bill was painting his house at the time and had written a very different poem, I guess you would call it, or you know, what was to be lyrics than what appears on the album. And so when he showed us this, and we said, oh yeah, okay, great, you know, and then later on in the practice, Sandy had played a riff that a melody came to me, and so Bill's lyrics here, and so it got morphed and cut up. But that was an interesting one, because it might have turned out very different in just Bill's hands, or just my hands, or in just Sandy's hands, you know.
And so, if before we go, I want to hear, does anybody have any bad habits in the band that?
All of us have bad habits in the band.
And by that I mean something that you're just like, does somebody
Oh man.
No.
never bring a guitar pick, or?
No.
Oh well, hold it. I know. Before you say it, I'm going to say.
All right.
I can never find my capo.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that.
And I'm always out of tune.
I was going to
I
talk
always
about
have-
Sandy stealing all the Sharpies. That's what I was going to talk about.
Oh well, I'd be happy to hear you talk about that.
Well, the cat's out of the bag.
Are
But
they the scented ones, or?
maybe that's why he takes them.
It just
I'm
helps
not
I
give
gave
me a better
Sandy
visual.
for Christmas. I gave him a box of about 48 Sharpies, and I put his name on them, and I said, "Those are your Sharpies. Leave mine alone." And that was. I think he took it well.
Maybe. No. I think we're still. I mean, it's been what, 3 years now, but I think we're still in the honeymoon phase. So no, everybody's.
And we don't see each other that much, really. I mean, once a week at the most.
What about
Unless we're-
FaceTime? Like FaceTime or call, or?
Oh, listen, the amount of emails that go
Yeah,
on
it's
between the
that
three
way,
of
okay.
us is ridiculous. But,
Yeah, texting late at night.
yeah.
Middle of the night. And so, for your next gig that you have coming up, you'll be playing all songs off of your new CD.
No, well,
Or you got some secrets?
we'll play most of those.
Most of those.
And then another 10 or so, probably.
Yeah, there's a kind of a wealth of new material. We'll eventually make a follow-up record, and we're working on songs for that. So there's a lot of things that we want to play. Those songs, with it being the first record, weren't tested beforehand. You know, it was build them and then learn them. What we want to do for the next record is we want to play the songs live, and we want to be very ready.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming in today, guys.
Thank you, Mandy.
We really appreciate it. And anybody out there that's tuning in right now, Bonnet House CD, you can get it at Backstreet Records, or you can go onto their website at bonnethouse.com.
You got it.
BonnetHouseMusic.com.
Bonnet
Nope,
House.
just
No, no.
bonnethouse.com.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bonnet
sorry,
House-
that's the email address.
Okay, so you can go on
BonnetHouseMusic@gmail.com.
bonnethouse.com, and you can get the digital copy, or if you want a hard copy and you want to head into Backstreet Records, which is a super cool place. That was Bill Preeper, Sandy McKay, Clinton Charlton from Bonnet House, and I'm your guest host for Rob Patry Live. Mandy Lynn, thanks so much.
There we go, Bill. Put it in there.